Love, it's messy, complicated, thrilling, and sometimes it's downright unbelievable. And when Hollywood takes real-life love stories, they add a sprinkle of drama, a dash of movie magic, and suddenly you're sitting there with a box of tissues, questioning all your life choices. But what if I told you the heart-wrenching moments you see on the screen actually happened? Yes, today we are diving into real love stories that inspired some of the most unforgettable romance movies in history. And trust me, when reality meets cinema, it's even more powerful. So without further ado, let's get into the top 10 most amazing romance movies based on true stories. Number 10 is Loving, a beautiful yet gut-wrestling story about a couple whose love was so strong it literally changed the actual law of an estate. Richard and Mildred Loving, a white man and black woman, dared to marry in 1950s Virginia, where interracial marriage was illegal. They were arrested, banished from their home state, but they didn't give up. Their love led to the Supreme Court case that struck down anti-miscegenation laws nationwide. The film captures their quiet resilience, but their real Richard and Mildred, they weren't activists. They were just two people who wanted to live in peace, raise their family, and love each other without the world telling them it was wrong. It's not your typical sweeping romance, but the understated devotion these two had, that's real love. Number 9, At First Sight. This one's got a bit of a twist. It's based on the real story of a blind man named Cheryl Jennings who after 40 years regained his sight. The movie follows Virgil, played by Val Kilmer, a blind masseur who falls in love with Emmy, played by Mira Sorvino. And their relationship takes a wild turn when Virgil undergoes surgery to restore his sight. But here's the thing, in real life regaining sight isn't always the miracle it's made out to be in movies. Cheryl Jennings struggled deeply with adapting to a world he could suddenly see, and it took a toll on his relationship. This movie explores the complexity of love when everything changes overnight. Not your average love story, but it's raw and real in ways that will stick with you for a while. Number 8, Walk the Line. Everyone knows Johnny Cash, the man in black, but few people know the full love story between him and June Carter, the woman who stuck by him through the highs and devastating lows of his life. Walk the Line shows Johnny's rise to fame, his spiral into addiction, and how June Carter, his muse, his saving grace, helped him find his way back. Their real-life love wasn't smooth. Johnny proposed to June multiple times before she finally said yes. In the movie, you get the sense that their love was fiery and sometimes volatile, but also full of respect and partnership. And hey, if Reese Witherspoon's Oscar-winning portrayal of June doesn't convince you that love can be a redeeming force, I don't know what will. Number 7, The Notebook. This might be the most iconic love story of the 2000s. And it's based off Nicholas Sparks' book, which itself was inspired by the love story of his wife's grandparents. In the film, Noah and Ellie come from different worlds, but their love is epic, with a standing war, class differences, and eventually illness. Now, the real-life couple didn't go through quite the same dramatic twists and turns, but their devotion to each other until the end was what inspired the Sparks to write the novel. Watching Noah tenderly care for Ellie as she suffers from Alzheimer's, that's the kind of love we all hope for, one that lasts even when everything else fades away. Next, we have The Theory of Everything, which tells the story of renowned physicist Stephen Hawking and his first wife Jane Wilde. Their relationship began before Stephen was diagnosed with ALS, and Jane stood by him as his death rapidly declined. The film gives you a glimpse into their love, but their real story is even more complicated. Jane supported Stephen through his work and his battle with the disease, but eventually, their relationship strained under the weight of it all. Still, the movie shows that love isn't always about the fairy tale ending, it's about supporting each other through the hardest of times, even when that means walking away. Number 5, Fever Pitch. This rom-com starring Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon is a love story centered around baseball. Yep, it's actually based on a memo by Nick Hornby, and the real-life inspiration was the author's obsession with soccer, not baseball. The movie adapted this story to follow Ben, a die-hard Boston Red Sox fan, and his girlfriend Lindsay, as they navigate his borderline obsessive love for the team. Is fun and lighthearted, but the underlying truth here is that relationships require balance. You can love your hobbies, but if you love someone, you have got to show up for them too. This next one is a tough watch. But Boys Don't Cry is an incredibly important film based on the tragic true story of Brandon Tino, a transgender man who was brutally murdered in 1993. The movie follows Brandon's journey to find acceptance and love while living in a society that refused to understand him. Hilary Swank's portrayal of Brandon earned her an Oscar, and the film sheds light on the real dangers LGBTQ individuals face and continue to face just for being who they are. The love story here is bittersweet, but it's a reminder that love and identity are worth fighting for, even when the world says otherwise. Number 3. The Vow. Okay, grab your tissues for this one. The Vow is based on the true story of Kim and Cricket Carpenter, a couple whose lives were forever changed after a car accident left Cricket with severe memory loss. In the movie, Rachel McAdams plays Paige, a woman who no longer remembers her husband. Leo, played by Channing Tatum, and Leo's quest to win her heart all over again. The real story is even more incredible. Kim Carpenter refused to give up on Cricket, and they essentially fell in love twice. It's proof that love isn't just about grand gestures, it's about persistence, dedication, and sometimes starting from scratch. Number 2. The Edge of Love. The Edge of Love tells the story of poet Dylan Thomas and the two women in his life, his wife, Caitlin, and his childhood friend, Vera Phillips. The movie dives into the messy, complicated love triangle between these three, set against the backdrop of World War II. What's fascinating is that this is loosely based on real events. Dylan Thomas was known for his tumultuous relationships, and the film highlights the emotional highs and lows that come with loving someone who's as brilliant as they are flawed. It's a reminder that love isn't always titty, but it's so much real and raw. And finally, at number 1, we have All My Life, a story that's as heartbreaking as it is beautiful. The movie is based on the true story of Solomon Chow and Jennifer Carter, a young couple whose wedding plans were derailed when Solomon was diagnosed with terminal cancer. In the face of tragedy, they didn't let go of their love of their dreams. The movie captures their determination to make the most of the time they have left. Throwing a wedding despite the odds is a tearjerker, but it also shows that love isn't about the amount of time you have together. It's about what you do with that time. And now, when you make it this far, I would like to ask you one question. Did you know that there are some of these romantic movies that gone too far and got actually banned in several countries, and I gathered all of them right here in the next video?